go and bring out of the hellfire anyone who has in his heart a weight of an atom of faith. A weight of an atom of faith. That is the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So they go and they bring them out. And after all this, still some believers in hellfire. Because atom can be less. There can be less than an atom. So the limit Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives the believers to intercede for, who has a weight of an atom of faith. إِثْقَالَ ذَرَّةٍ مِنْ إِيمَانٍ in his heart. What's about those who have less? What's about those who have less? And that is where Shafa'at al-Jabbar. That is where the Shafa'a, the last Shafa'a, and that is the Shafa'a of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Shafi'. That is where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will take out the rest of those who died on La ilaha illallah. But let me tell you something. Don't say, I say La ilaha illallah, and let me do whatever I want in my life. You don't have to listen. What is he talking about? Quran, Sunnah, I believe in them. And I believe that I'm supposed to follow them. But you know what? Let me enjoy my life. Listen, if the Shafa'a and the intercession of the Prophet ﷺ doesn't get me, maybe the intercession of the other prophets will get me. If their intercession doesn't get me, the angels' intercession. If doesn't get me, then the intercession of the believers. And listen, they go 3 times. So what's the chance I won't be from amongst them? And you know what? Even if all that doesn't get me, the intercession of Allah will. Don't think like that. Because you cannot be patient on the hellfire. And you cannot be patient with that torture and the punishment in there. If you get hit or you touch a pot that is hot, you suffer. You suffer. So imagine when your food is fire, and when your drink is fire, and your clothes are fire, and your bed is fire, and on top of you is fire, and below you is fire. When that, you eat that zaptum, that plant that's full of spikes, and gets stuck in your throat. And then when you ask for water, the water is brought to you. كالمهل يغلي في الحمل كالمهل يغلي في البطون كغلي الحمل. And the water is brought to your face to drink it, and your flesh and your face just melt. That is the life you're going to have. You think you can deal with that for a couple of 1,000 years? One day in the sight of Allah is 50,000 years. Can you deal with that? Can you wait until Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow all these to intercede? We don't know how long that will take. So don't be with such mentality. And a believer can never think like that. And when we reach the point where we talk about that punishment in the hellfire, then something you have to recalculate and you have to reconsider. So in Bukhari and Muslim, يقول الله عز وجل شفع الأنبياء والملائكة وسائر النبيين وبقيت شفاعتي. He said all those had used their intercession, and what's left is my shafa'a. فيقبض الله جل وعلا قبضة من النار فيقبض الحق تبارك وتعالى قبضة من النار فيخرجون وهم كالفحم قد امتحشوا. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says my intercession is left. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala takes a handful from the people who are in hellfire, from amongst the believers again. And a handful of Allah. Allah knows how. And Allah knows how big that is. And I already gave you the examples of this ring around Saturn. That as big as 1,000 billion Earth. 1,000 billion Earth. And all that is in the hand of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as the ayah said. So imagine how many people are brought out. وَهُمْ كَالْفَحْمِ قَدْ امْتَحَشُوا. They come out like coal. They're burned out from the hellfire. They're burned. Just like when you burn wood Whatever it turns like, those people turn like that. قد امتحشوا يعني كالفحم فيخرجون إلى نهر في الجنة. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala takes them and puts them in a river in paradise. That river called Nahr al-Hayah, the river of life. فينبتون. They will grow. Like plants grow, they will grow. They will grow back until they become in a good way, in a good form. ثم توضع في رقابهم الخواتيم. And then they will be worn something in their necks, so that people will know them. فيقول أهل الجنة هؤلاء هم عتقاء الرحمن من النار. So when the people of Jannah will see them, they will say, those are the ones that are freed by the intercession of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As if it was praise for them. You know, after all this, it's like a praise for them. Allah intercede for those people. And they are perhaps the last ones to be entering Jannah. And we know that famous hadith of the Prophet ﷺ about the last man to enter Jannah. And inshallah we will talk about that hadith when we talk about the blessings of Jannah. So this is the Shafa'a. And this is the intercessions of the Prophet ﷺ, the intercessions of the prophets and the angels and the muwahhideen, and after that the intercession of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the believers. La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah is the key for paradise. It's the key for paradise. And know that every key has teeth. Every key has teeth. You get a flat key, will not open anything, even though it's called key. Has teeth and has specifics. Those are what you need to be doing. So La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah has conditions that you have to fulfill. To be truly believing in it in your heart. To be truly believing in La ilaha illallah. If it's all about saying La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah, then we should just have 1 minute ad on all national and international TVs and channels and radios. And just write the state. Just write the state. So everyone gonna read that? Muslim. Right? That's what it is. But it's not. It's not. You have to believe it. It has to take over your heart and over your mind. And after that, when that happens, your whole life becomes for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Your whole life becomes to fulfill this word and this statement, La ilaha illallah, Muhammad Rasulullah. No one is worthy of worship but Allah. When you understand that and you believe in that, that means everything you're going to do, where there's a chance to associate someone with Allah, you will avoid. When anything you might do to disobey Allah, you will avoid. Because part of the ibadah is to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And part of the ibadah is to fulfill the orders of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And part of the ibadah is to obey the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And you can only worship the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam through the same, through his guidance. And through the sunnah that he had left behind. That is the significance of La ilaha illallah. And La ilaha illallah has conditions, 7 conditions as the ulama put them together. And that is love, and that is submission, that is acceptance, and that is belief, and that is tasdeeq, and that is sincerity. الحب والإخلاص واليقين والانقياد فدر ما أقول والصدق والإخلاص والمحبة وفقك الله لما حبه. All these are conditions that the ulama have taken out of the book of Allah and the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, that someone who says La ilaha illallah has to fulfill. And we will have specific lectures about that inshallah. Because we hear La ilaha illallah, La ilaha illallah. What does that mean? It's more than just there is no God but God. And it's more than for people to understand that there is no one worthy of worship but Allah. Because a lot of people think worship means prostration and bowing and prostration. And worship is way beyond that. And worship can carry many, many meanings. And many attitudes and many behaviors that if we don't know them, if we're not aware of them, then we're going to fall in them and we're going to commit them. So very important. You can be worshiping your car without you knowing. Seriously. You can be worshiping your job without you knowing it. You can be worshiping your clothes without you knowing it. You can be worshiping a woman without you knowing it. A woman can be worshiping a man without her knowing it. You can be worshiping your kids without you knowing it. And you can be worshiping your money without you knowing it. So it's very important. I'm sure that you're not making sujood for your wife, and you're not making sujood for a woman, and you don't bring your